Iran is still at the top of the news cycle these days, as it should be, but just because our government can't seem to decide whether or not we are at war or are about to be at war with Iran, it doesn't mean that there aren't other pressing matters for us to discuss. Though admittedly, today's matter is a little bit less pressing than it is just funny. There is a new art installation on the National Mall, and the White House does not find it very amusing. Donald Trump's affiliation with notorious sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein is something that has long plagued the MAGA community, which is notably intolerant of sex trafficking. And when I say notably intolerant, I'm not suggesting that anyone else is for or is less tolerant of it. We're all mad about sex trafficking. We know that it's a thing that's happening. We know that it's rampant, and we would all love to see that not be the case. But MAGA gets conspiratorial about it. And generally speaking, most people aren't trying to defend Jeffrey Epstein, regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on. People seem to accept, apart from maybe a few incels in the darker corners of the internet, that he was a very bad man who likely did the things that he was accused of doing before he died, however he died. But the MAGA crowd loves to get very upset about anyone even remotely associated with Epstein, because anyone remotely associated with a man like that has to be involved in or at least aware of what Epstein was up to. Anyone but Donald Trump. So to explain away Trump's documented association with Epstein, MAGA will try to convince you that sure, he knew him and maybe they went to some of the same parties, but any involvement Trump had with Epstein was in the interest of taking him and his whole operation down. Trump, who himself has been accused and charged with sexual misconduct, who himself has admitted to sexual misconduct in audio recordings and on video, who himself has said wildly inappropriate things about his own daughter, Trump is actually the savior that this country didn't know it had. It's a weak defense of a defenseless man, but they stick with it, and I'm assuming they actually believe it. The Trump that lives in their own warped little heads is not the Trump that is, so they have to explain away things that really shouldn't need very much explanation, because those things are incongruent with what they imagine things to be. And when they're not doing that, they're just pretending that the Trump-Epstein connection isn't a thing, because it seems that even they would just rather not talk about it.
And I get the sense that things calmed down. Mm-hmm. The Epstein file thing was way over the top and just crazy to say that Trump was in the Epstein files. I mean, what are you doing? Sometimes when people get drunk, they do crazy things. But this is a total escalation.
But in what seems to be an effort to force the uncomfortable conversation, a gilded television set with a gilded bald eagle sitting atop, all of which sits atop a pedestal, is sitting in the National Mall, looping a video of Trump dancing next to Jeffrey Epstein. There's a plaque on the pedestal that reads, "In the United States of America, you have the freedom to display your so-called art, no matter how ugly it is." The quote is attributed to the Trump White House, June 2025. That quote did, in fact, come from a White House spokesperson in response to another sculpture appearing on the National Mall just days after Trump's birthday/military parade. This one depicts the Statue of Liberty's head and crown with a crack in it, her head apparently bashed in with a Trumpy golden thumbs up. The inscription said "Dictator approved," and around the base were quotes from dictatorial world leaders, Putin, Viktor Orban, Kim Jong-un, and Bolsonaro, all praising Trump. These sculptures harken back to another one that appeared on the National Mall just days before Election Day last year. This sculpture sought to remind everyone of what Trump and his supporters unleashed on our Capitol just a few years earlier on January 6th. The plaque on this one read, "This memorial honors the brave men and women who broke into the United States Capitol on January 6th, 2021, to loot, urinate, and defecate throughout those hallowed halls in order to overturn an election. President Trump celebrates these heroes of January 6th as unbelievable patriots and warriors. This monument stands as a testament to their daring sacrifice and lasting legacy." But regarding the latest installation, in a statement to the Washington Post, press aide Abigail Jackson tried to spin the whole thing, saying, "Wow, these liberal activists masquerading as artists are dumber than I thought. I've tricked them into taking down their ugly sculpture and replacing it with a beautiful beautiful video of the president's legendary dance moves that will bring joy and inspiration to all tourists traversing our national mall. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Meanwhile, no one seems to know where these sculptures are coming from or who is responsible for them. According to the National Park Service, the name Mary Harris is listed on the permit, but there is no contact information for her. Also, it's likely that that's just a pseudonym, a nod to Mary Harris Jones, also known as Mother Jones, the school teacher turned labor organizer and activist. So this is all protected speech, but so are a lot of things that our government has recently been treating as though they are not protected. And sure, part of me wants to say that these displays are juvenile or silly or inconsequential, but a bigger part of me believes that disdain and disapproval, especially in a democracy, should be displayed. I know 2 weeks seems like forever ago, but we just had the largest demonstration of public disapproval for a president and an administration this country has ever seen. That didn't come from nothing. Those numbers have been growing and growing for the past 10 years. And with every display of discontent, you know that there are so many more people watching the protesters from home, agreeing with their cause and message, understanding that there are others out there just like them who feel and think the same way that they do, quietly supporting them from the sidelines. Those protesters showed not just to their own countrymen, but to the entire world that we, the people, do not support or condone the actions of our government. And if it does nothing else, it's still a funny thing that hurts Donald Trump's ego, something that he will have to rationalize in his own mind, in opposition that will eat at him despite the fairy tales that he loves to tell himself. Let there be no rest for the wicked, all right? That's it for me. If you got something out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.